In the quiet city of Bern, at the dawn of the 20th century, the world seemed stable, its laws of physics written in stone. No one suspected that a lowly civil servant was about to tear those laws apart. This is the Swiss Patent Office. It was here, among stacks of technical drawings and legal documents, that the greatest revolution in human thought began. Albert Einstein was not a professor. He was a technical expert class 3. To his superiors, he was a diligent clerk. To the universe, he was its most profound interrogator.
He had been rejected for academic positions and struggled to support his young family. But within the confines of his mundane routine, a fire was smoldering.
1905. History would come to call it the Annus Mirabilis, the miracle year. In just 12 months, this clerk would publish 4 papers that would change everything. The seeds were sown decades earlier. At age 5, a simple compass sparked a lifelong obsession: the hidden forces that move the world.
He was a rebel who detested rote learning. He skipped lectures to read the masters of physics on his own, challenging the authorities who would later deny him a job. In Bern, he formed the Olympia Academy, a mock-serious name for a group of friends who spent their nights debating philosophy and physics, fueling Einstein's intellectual hunger.
In March, he challenged the nature of light itself. While others saw light as a continuous wave, Einstein proposed it traveled in discrete packets, quanta. It was a radical idea that light could act like particles. This discovery would eventually earn him the Nobel Prize and lay the foundation for quantum mechanics. 2 months later, he tackled the invisible. By analyzing the erratic movement of particles in liquid, Brownian motion, he provided the first definitive proof that atoms actually exist. But his greatest challenge was yet to come. He began to question the very fabric of reality, time and space. He wondered, what happens if you chase a beam of light? For centuries, Newton's laws were gospel. Time was absolute and the same for everyone. Einstein dared to disagree. He realized that for the speed of light to be constant, time itself must be flexible. In June, he published his theory of special relativity. He revealed that time slows down and lengths contract as you approach the speed of light. Reality was not what it seemed. In September, he added a 3-page postscript. It contained a simple equation that linked the 2 greatest pillars of physics, energy and mass. E equals mc squared. The formula suggested that even a tiny amount of matter contained a gargantuan amount of energy. The clerk had unlocked the secret of the stars and the potential for the most destructive weapons ever known. After publishing these 4 world-shattering papers, Einstein waited for a reaction. For months, there was silence. The scientific establishment ignored the clerk from Bern. Then, a letter arrived. Max Planck, the father of quantum theory and the most powerful physicist in Germany, had read the papers. He realized that a revolution had begun. By 1909, the world could no longer ignore him. Einstein left the patent office forever to become a professor, but he would always say that his best work was done at that humble desk. But special relativity was incomplete. It didn't account for gravity. For the next 10 years, Einstein embarked on a grueling intellectual journey to generalize his theory. He called it the happiest thought of my life. He realized that gravity and acceleration were 2 sides of the same coin.
This insight led him to general relativity.
Einstein proposed that gravity wasn't a mysterious force pulling objects, but a curvature in the very fabric of space and time. Matter tells space how to curve. Space tells matter how to move.
As World War I raged, Einstein completed his general theory of relativity. It was a masterpiece of mathematical beauty, but it remained unproven. He needed a solar eclipse to test it.
In 1919, British astronomers traveled to the tropics to photograph stars during a total solar eclipse. If Einstein was right, the sun's gravity would bend the starlight.
The results were definitive. The light had bent exactly as Einstein predicted. The headlines the next day screamed, "Lights all askew in the heavens. Einstein's theory triumphs." Overnight, the humble clerk became the most famous scientist in history. He was a global icon, a symbol of human genius who had looked into the mind of God.
In 1921, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. Curiously, it wasn't for relativity, which was still considered too controversial by some, but for his discovery of the photoelectric effect.
But as his fame grew, so did the darkness in Europe. As a Jew and a pacifist, Einstein became a target for the rising Nazi Party. His Jewish physics was denounced.
In 1933, Einstein left Germany forever. He found a new home at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey, where he would spend the rest of his life. In Princeton, he became a living legend. He was the quintessential absent-minded professor, known for his simple lifestyle, his violin, and his refusal to wear socks.
Though a lifelong pacifist, Einstein's fear of a Nazi nuclear weapon led him to sign a letter to President Roosevelt, urging the U.S. to begin its own research. It was a decision that would haunt him. When the bombs fell in 1945, Einstein was horrified. He spent the rest of his life campaigning for nuclear disarmament and world government, fearing that his formula had paved the way for humanity's destruction. In his final decades, Einstein became increasingly isolated from the mainstream of physics. He spent his days searching for a unified field theory, a single equation to explain everything. He could never accept the randomness of quantum mechanics. He believed the universe was orderly and predictable. The clerk who had started the quantum revolution now found himself its greatest critic. Even on his deathbed in 1955, Einstein was still working. He never finished his unified theory, but his quest never faltered. Albert Einstein passed away at the age of 76. The world mourned not just a scientist, but a man who had become the conscience of the atomic age. His name became a synonym for genius. But Einstein always insisted he had no special talents, only that he was passionately curious. Today, we live in Einstein's world. Without his theories, there would be no GPS, no lasers, and no nuclear power. The clerk's thoughts are embedded in every piece of technology we touch. A century later, his theories continue to pass every test, from the detection of gravitational waves to the first images of black holes. Einstein's imagination continues to guide our exploration of the cosmos. He was the desk clerk who rewrote the universe. Albert Einstein taught us that reality is deeper than our senses, and that with a simple pen and a bold mind, any of us can unlock the secrets of the stars.